following lessons you're going to see are going to teach you how to do magic. Magic you can do that's impressive and fun and that you can do with common objects. You've got to have fun when you do it. Sharing the secrets of magic, or sharing the magic itself, is what makes the hobby so special. It's one of the few hobbies that you need to share with others to get the full enjoyment out of it. That's really what you need to know about magic. And I think you'll find you'll really enjoy the following tricks you're going to see.
It looks very nice. I'm going to borrow one polyester off her t-shirt. This is so the people in the cheap seats can see it. Now, Michelle, if I take this and I blow on it, it jumps to my pocket. But Michelle, if I could have you, would you blow on that? Don't spit on it. Michelle, I just want you to blow on it. You spit on it again! Here, just blow a little. Oh, you were going to spit, I saw. Here, just blow a little. Perfect. When she blows on that one, we get this one. Michelle, put out your hand. The clean one. My friends, as I page through this paper, I'm going to ask you to remember something. Now, you can choose to remember whatever you'd like. Whether it's something on the back page, something inside one of these pages, something over here, or even something on this, it's front page. But I want you and even all of you to remember something from this paper, because you are about to see the famous Peter London newspaper illusion. Now, the reason I call this the famous Peter London newspaper illusion is that it looks as if I'm tearing the paper. The fact that the pieces separate just adds to the famous Peter London newspaper illusion. The sound that the paper makes as it tears just enhances the effect of the Peter London newspaper illusion all the more. But as you can see, it only looks as if the paper is shredding. It only seems to separate. Because in fact, I have really not torn this paper at all, because here it is, fully and wholly restored. What the heck do you think I was, a real magician? Look, I can see you don't believe me, so please, let me page through it one sheet at a time and have you remember whatever you chose to remember. Whether it was something over here, something on one of these pages, something over here, or something on this, it's front page. Here it is. Watch closely. Don't blink or you miss it. There he is, my bunny rabbit, Rabbit-Cadabra. Here he is, Rabbit-Cadabra, the world's smartest rabbit. Do you want to see him do a trick? Okay, he's going to do a trick for you. You ready? Rabbit-Cadabra, the world's smartest rabbit. You ready? Cadabra, look that way. Here we go. Rabbit-Cadabra, the world's smartest rabbit. You ready? Cadabra, look that way. Okay, here we go. Ready? Cadabra, look that way. He's not going to outsmart me. You ready? Cadabra, look that way. Okay, I'm going to have to hypnotize him for this. Here we go. Are you ready? Itty bitty, chilly bitty. It doesn't mean anything, but it looks good and he likes it. I really am going to hypnotize him. I ask you all, please, don't make a sound until you hear my fingers snap one more time. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. My friends, I want to thank you all very much. You were a wonderful audience. Thank you all. Have a terrific day here. Thank you, St. Anne's.
The tape you've just seen is an example of some of the magic you might see as a youngster in a school, or perhaps anywhere else you've seen a magician. My name is Peter London, and what we're going to do in this tape is show you some tricks that you can learn and do for other people. Tricks that are not too hard, but not too easy, and are a lot of fun, and really fool people. We're going to talk about some of the principles of magic, some of the ways and some of the means you'll use to fool people. You need several things. First of all, you need to know how to do magic. And with that, you've got to keep a secret. Secrets are very important. Secrets are half the secret of magic. And I'm going to ask you right now to make a promise to me not to tell anybody. The reason I ask you that is that if someone asks you how you do it, you don't have to tell them. You can say, I promise not to tell, and you in fact will not be lying. The second thing you need to know about doing good magic is you must rehearse. You've got to practice the trick over and over until you know it cold. Then you rehearse what you say, and rehearse the actions too. Finally, you add the ingredient that makes it all come together, a sense of fun. That's what you need. You need a secret, you need confidence, and you need to have fun with the magic so that other people can enjoy it too. One of the things I like to do when I go out to a good restaurant is take one of the pieces of good silverware and give it a good bend just like that. Now the restaurant doesn't like it. That's why I really don't bend the spoon. I just create the illusion of bending it. Here's how you do it. I take the spoon, I pick it up, I give it a good bend. Or sometimes I just make it disappear entirely. Now, some people wonder where the spoon went. Is it over here? Over here? In fact, the spoon is in my pocket right over there. Here's the secret. You put your hands on top of the spoon and then move them as if you're bending them. In reality, what you're doing is just lifting your hands up, leaving your pinky holding the spoon flat on the table, just like this. This, of course, is a cutaway shot. Really, you would have both hands over the spoon. You bring your hands up. It's not that hard to bend a spoon, so don't make believe it's a Herculean feat. Bring your hands up with a little bit of effort, then bring them away and show them, in fact, you didn't bend the spoon. When you tell them you're going to show them how to do it, you lay the spoon sideways in front of you. Bring your hands in front of the spoon. This is the lapping. As I bring the spoon to the edge of the table, I secretly get the spoon to fall into my lap. This is what it looks like, using only my thumbs with my hands cut away. I bring the spoon like this, it falls into my lap, and I have my hands up here like this. Of course, I'm still hiding the spoon. Let's look at what that looks like again. I put my hands in front like this of the spoon, bring the spoon along the table. When the spoon reaches the edge of the table, it drops into my lap right now, and I bring my hands up. Making believe I'm still holding the spoon in my hand, I slowly make the spoon disappear, just like that. To get the spoon, I use misdirection here. With my left hand, I reach out and lean forward, while my right hand naturally falls to my lap. There's nothing over there. I look under my right lapel while I still have the spoon palmed in my hand. I don't show them that, but that's where it is. I lift up my left jacket, reach under there, pivot the spoon out, and remove it just like that. That's the vanishing spoon. Let's look at the sleights that are involved in this trick. You put your hands on top of the spoon, and then move them as if you're bending them. As I bring the spoon to the edge of the table, I secretly get the spoon to fall into my lap. I reach for something over here, I don't find it. I open my jacket, then when I close that side, I reach in there and take the spoon out. That's the illusion of the spoon. Another thing you can do at a restaurant is take a nickel and make it disappear. And what I'm going to do is take and put it under a salt shaker. I'm going to cover the salt shaker with a napkin just like that, so you can't see it, and put the salt shaker on top of the nickel. I haven't done anything sneaky yet. The nickel is in fact still there. But now the nickel is going to pass right through the table. Well, let's make this even tougher. Instead of getting the nickel to pass through, let's get the salt shaker to pass through on the count of 1, 2, 3. And there's the salt shaker right through the table. Here's the secret. Now, to get the nickel to vanish and actually vanish the salt shaker, I put the nickel down in the center of the table, covering it with the salt shaker. I make a crown or cover for the salt shaker. The cover gives me the full outline of the salt shaker. This way, when I move the salt shaker back and let it drop, it still looks as if the salt shaker is there. When I move it back, I now drop the salt shaker right now. It goes right below table height, and I let it fall just like that. It's just fallen. I put the cap back on there. Pick up the knife, count 1, 2, 3, showing that the salt shaker has vanished and has passed right through the table. There it is. That's the trick. Let's take a few seconds and review the bare bones of this trick. I put the nickel down as misdirection. I make a crown or cover for the salt shaker. When I move my hand back, that's when I drop. Right now, I drop the salt shaker. Pick up the knife, count 1, 2, 3. There it is. That's the trick. That's how you do the trick. It teaches you a very important technique, which is lapping. It also has some misdirection in it, which is a very powerful weapon for the magician. In addition to that, these are really 3 tricks put together, routined, if you will. With this little routine, you can start off doing 2 tricks with a spoon, and you have the knife right next to you with the salt shaker, and just have your nickel ready. With that routining, I think you'll find one trick flows smoothly into the next, and you can have a nice little show or a nice little vignette in a restaurant, at a home, or even just at a casual dinner. When I was a kid, as soon as I finished dinner, just like a ritual, I would begin to tear my napkin. And my parents would get very mad at me for tearing my napkin because we used cloth napkins. They said, "Don't tear your napkin up." I said, "I'm not, I'm tearing it down." Well, that wasn't very funny to them. And they would ask me to take and put my napkin back together. And I would go like this, and I'd say, "You see, it's back together." They said, "It's not back together." I squeezed it more, and they still didn't believe me. What I did was I reached into my pocket, I got out my wiffle dust, I sprinkled it right on top of the napkin. Now, I knew the magic happened as soon as I began to sprinkle the wiffle dust on. But the magic doesn't really happen for the other people until you see the napkin completely and wholly restored. Here's the secret. To do this trick, to put a torn and restored napkin back together again, you need a second napkin, identical to the first. What I do is I take a napkin, I unfold it. You could use this with a fast food store napkin, any kind of napkin. We've chosen the standard square napkin you'd probably find around your house. Take it, roll it up into a ball, and hold it secretly in your right hand. This is called a palm. It's a secret way of holding something so no one can see it. Make sure you don't hold it this way towards the people. You always keep the back of your hand to them. Never show the bottom, never show the top. Pick up the napkin, unfold it, and begin to tear just as I showed you. Use the storyline. I recommend the one that I did to show you initially. Once you've learned it, then you can make up your own storyline. Then tear the napkin. The best way to tear the napkin is right along the grain. Find the grain, and it will tear very straight, and will make a nice ripping sound, and will be very pretty as you tear it. Making sure the whole time you do this, you don't tilt your right hand with a palmed ball towards the audience watching you. Be aware of angles on both sides. Crumble the ball into your hand. Now here comes the tricky part. You've got to put the 2 balls together. This is the way to do it. I take and put my thumb behind the ball that's secretly palmed in my right hand, and put my first 2 fingers, my index finger and my middle finger, on the ball that the people were watching, on the torn pieces. I then pick them up together and hold them like that. We're going to do that again the way the people would see it as an audience. I pick them up just like that and squeeze them together. As soon as I do that, I make a gesture that shows my right hand empty. I don't say my right hand is empty, and you don't need to say that your right hand is empty. The gesture alone will do it. Squeeze the ball a little more tightly, and when you do that, you steal the front ball. You steal the torn pieces. It looks like this from the back. Your hand goes behind it, your right palm, and it goes right in there. You immediately bring the other ball back to where the first one was. It looks like this from the front. Your right hand passes in front, palms the ball. Your left hand brings up the entire napkin, the whole napkin, and squeezes it into a tighter ball and holds it there. Next, you put the palmed ball in your pocket. While you tell the people you're reaching for wiffle dust, I go into my pocket, I take out the wiffle dust. It's really nothing, but you make believe you sprinkle it on there. You can call it magic dust, whatever you'd like. Wiffle dust has a fun sound to it. Sprinkle it on, explain a little more about the magic, and then show them that the magic has really happened. Let's talk about the palm. That's the first sleight used in here, and probably the most basic sleight in magic. This is the palm, holding something in your hand secretly. This is called the classic palm because it goes right into the palm of your hand. There are other ways to hold things secretly, and we'll talk about those in some additional lessons. You keep the hand in a natural position. Probably the most relaxed position is with your thumb on your index finger and your palm slightly contracted. Bringing your thumb in a little bit will easily hold the ball there. You don't have to hold it hard. If you hit your hand, the ball should fall out. Nice and relaxed is the key. Let's look at the sleights that are involved in this trick. The first one is you have to exchange the balls. And the way to do that is you have to put the two balls together. This is what it looks like behind the scenes, close up. Your left thumb goes behind the good napkin. Your index finger and your middle finger go on the other side of the torn napkin. As you go to pick up one of them, you put them both together and squeeze, just like that. The good one stays in the back. The torn pieces are in the front. I'm going to do it one more time so you see it. The good pieces stay in the back. The torn pieces stay in the front. Once again, it looks like this from the audience's point of view. The good pieces stay in the back. The torn pieces are in the front. Now you have those together. You make a gesture showing them that your right hand is empty without saying so. Then bring your right hand over again and squeeze the ball. When you do this, you make a second steal, and that looks like this from behind. You come back here like this. Your right hand now grabs the pieces in the front, the torn pieces, and leaves the whole napkin. Once again, it looks like this. Your right hand steals the torn pieces and leaves the good piece. Squeezes it a little bit more, so it seems like you just picked up the ball again to squeeze it a little more tightly. Then you go to your pocket with the torn pieces, leave them there, and bring out the, quote, wiffle dust. Sprinkle it on. And that's the most difficult sleight involved in there is the exchange of the pieces. Let's take a few seconds and review the bare bones of this trick. 1, you have a napkin secretly palmed in your hand. 2, you tear the napkin up and you perform a switch, letting the people see your right hand is empty. You complete the switch holding the now restored napkin in your left hand. Look at your left hand for misdirection. Reach into your right pocket, get the wiffle dust, leave the pieces of the napkin there, open the napkin. That's really all you need to know. Remember to learn it, rehearse it, practice it, and have fun sharing it. I'm going to ask you to watch this green elastic band. What's going to happen is this elastic band is going to jump from my first 2 fingers to my second 2 fingers just that fast. Let me do it a little more slowly so you don't understand. What's going to happen is the elastic band is going to jump from my second 2 fingers right to my first 2 fingers. It really happens in the twinkling of an eye. I'm going to add a second elastic band to make this a little more tricky. The green one is on my first 2 fingers, the red one is on the second 2 fingers. Just like that, they change places. I'm going to do that a second time. I know some people are confounded by that, but all I have to do is open and close my hands, and they jump, they change places. Now, some people think they're traveling over the tops of my hand. What I'm going to do is interlock my fingers with a third elastic band to eliminate any possibility of trickery. And yet right here, you are about to see the two elastic bands. The green jump to the red side, and the red jumps to the green side. I'll do it one last time, just so you can see the impossible one last time. Here's the secret. What I do, when I pull the elastic band, I initially put the elastic band over my first two fingers. When I close my hand, I put it over the backs of all four of my fingers, just above the top of the fingernails, just where the skin begins. But the audience doesn't see that. They just see this. When I open my hand, the elastic jumps to the other two fingers. It does it automatically. You don't have to do anything. To get it to jump back to the first two fingers, you do the same thing in reverse. You pull the elastic band out, you fold your fingers into a fist, put the elastic just above your nail line, just where the skin begins, open your hand, and the elastic will jump to the other two fingers. When you use two elastic bands, and you need to use two of contrasting colors to really get the effect, I chose a red and a green, you can use any colors you want. I take and wrap it around all four, the same as before. You do that with both of them, around all four fingers. When you open your hands, they both jump, they both change places. And you can do that a third time. Just go back and forth. You can do it ad nauseum, but don't. The final step is take and twist another elastic band. Just interlock it, give it a half twist after it's on each two fingers, just like that. With it on those four fingers, it seems as if the elastic bands can't jump anymore. In fact, it doesn't affect the trick at all. You do it again exactly the same way. And once again, they jump, completely changing places. And you can go back and forth on that. The steps to keep in mind for this trick are, 1, put the elastic band around your first two fingers. Remember, when you put it around the back, it goes around all four fingers, just above your nail where the skin begins. Make sure it's on all four fingers. Then just open your hand, and it will automatically jump to the other side. Everything else is only a variation on the original theme of this particular sleight. A very effective trick, and probably the most dramatic you can learn, is to make a card appear by magic. Just like that. It's called the back palm, and this is how it's done. You put a card behind your hand just like this. You hold it between your index finger and your pinky finger, right about at the nail. From the back, obviously you can see it, but from the front, it looks pretty invisible. You bring your hand forward, open it, and the card jumps right into view. When it happens quickly, it's very effective. To make the card disappear in the same way, you put your index finger and your pinky finger on the outsides of the card. You fold your second and third fingers on the inside of the card. You bend the card around and push it back with your thumb. And that makes the card disappear. It looks like that when it appears. It looks like that when it disappears. Let's look at that in close-up. Here's how you make the card vanish. You put your index finger and your pinky on the outsides of it. Your two middle fingers go on the inside, right there. When you straighten your hand out, you fold your fingers together, just like that. This is what it looks like from the back. Of course, you'd never show the audience that. This is what it looks like from the front. You make sure all the corners are hidden when you hold your hand this way. When you bring your hand forward, like that, you can make it appear. Put it back in that position, and it's gone. You put your index finger and your pinky on the outsides of it. Your two middle fingers go on the inside, right there. When you straighten your hand out, you fold your fingers together, just like that. When you bring your hand forward, like that, you can make it appear. Put it back in that position, and it's gone. It's very dramatic, it's very simple, but it takes a lot of practice to do well. Marilyn, I'm going to ask you to take a card. Take it, look at it, show it to your friends. Now I want you to think of a number between 2 and 4. Make it odd.
3?
Good guess. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to ask you to put your card right on top of those cards, making your card the 4th card from the bottom. I'm going to go through the cards, and I want you to tell me if you see your card. Is this your card?
No.
Okay. I'll put that card down, the next one on top. Is that your card?
No.
That one goes down, the next one goes on top. Is that your card?
No.
That one goes down, next one goes on top. Is that your card?
No, it's not.
That one goes down, the next one goes on top. We've got 4 cards right here. I'm going to go through them a second time. Is this your card?
No.
That goes down, the next one goes on top. Is that it? I'll put that down, the next one on top. Were either of these your cards?
No.
No? What was the name of your card?
3 of clubs.
The 3 of clubs? Well, Marilyn, you know something? That's amazing. This trick uses a sleight called the glide. This is what the glide looks like. You slide a card down or glide it down over the face of the other cards. This allows you to take the card below it secretly. Of course, this isn't done facing the audience. What I do is I tilt my hand down and then make the glide. It's a very imperceptible movement as my hand tilts. If someone had taken the King of Spades, which is the second card down here, I would glide the card down as I moved my hand down. The glide would occur, and I would slide the king out. As soon as I did that, I would return the card to its original position by pushing my pinky up. That's the sleight of hand. Let's go through that again. I have someone take a card out. They take the card and they put it, in this case, we'll use the 5 of spades. They put it 4th from the bottom. We count 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. Their card is the 4th from the bottom. When I pick the deck up, I go through it. I say, ask, is that your card? They say no. I put that one down, the next one up here. I next ask, is that your card? They say no. This time when I tilt my hand down, I do the glide. I take the card below it, which is in fact their card, and put that one down. And then I put the next one on top. Ask if that's their card, that goes down, next one on top, and to be consistent, we take a 4th card, that goes down, the next one goes on top. Demonstrate your hands are empty, but don't call attention to that fact. Pick up the cards again. Your card, the card they chose, is 2nd from the bottom. You ask if that's their card, they say no, you glide again. When you bring your hand down, glide, slide that card out, which is now their card, they haven't seen it, and put it down, put the next one on top. Show the next card, is that your card? No, put it down, next one goes on top. Neither of these are their cards. You ask them the name of their card before you show them, they tell you. You take the bottom card, the one card they have never seen, lift it up, and show it to them. Pause for a moment for dramatic impact, but that's their card. This is the secret of the glide. The way you get this card to move down, the card facing you to move down enough to reach the next card, is push with your 2nd and 3rd fingers. Lightly but firmly, slide them back. They separate from your index finger. It looks like this from the side. Now, when this happens in a movement such as this, swinging down, you don't see it. Smoothly, it looks like that. The card is now in the glide position, and you can slide the next card out. That's really all there is to this sleight. It's that simple. The thing to remember in this trick is that you have to tell the person to remember their card. Once they know their card, then you can start to have fun with it. Once they know their card, you can put their card 4th from the bottom. The glide occurs twice in this routine. You have to remember where it goes. In the end, have them name their card before you reveal their card. It makes the revelation of that card a little more dramatic, a little more special. When you do reveal it, hold it up by your face to show them their card. And also, it frames your face nicely too. It's a nice dramatic ending for a simple but effective card trick. Hi, this is my assistant, Marilyn. Marilyn, I'd like to borrow one polyester off your blouse. Marilyn, if I take this polyester and I blow on it, it jumps to my pocket. But Marilyn, if I could have you, would you blow on that, please? Now don't spit on it, Marilyn. I just want you to blow on it. You know, when she blows on that one, we get this one. Marilyn, put out your hand. The clean one. I'm sorry, you were right. The other one was cleaner. We'll work with what we have. Leave that right there where everyone can see it. Now remember, when I take this and I blow on it, it jumps to my pocket. Well, Marilyn, I've got two polyesters. I've got poly and ester. Point to one. Take it, put out your hand, grab it tightly. Marilyn, make believe it's money. Oh, that worked real well. Squeeze, 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 don't let go. I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna throw it through your ear. It goes right across her head, down your neck, and right into your hand. Turn your hand over, open it up, amazing. 1, 2, Marilyn, take them both. Squeeze them, don't let them go. In my pocket, I've got a third one. I'm going to place this one right here in the air invisibly. It actually walks right down the air you breathe and right into your fingertips. Turn your hand over, open it up. 1, 2, and 3. How about a round of applause for our lovely assistant, Marilyn? Here is the basic sleight you need for this trick. What I do is I hold the ball in a thumb palm or a thumb pinch. What my thumb does is pinch down on the ball like that and hold it here secretly. I then reach over and remove the sponge ball off someone's clothing. You take the sponge ball and you make believe you put it in your hand. Really, you do a vanish. And this is what it looks like. As my hand closes, I bend the two right fingers in that hold the ball and pinch it in the crotch of my thumb. It looks like this. But I make believe I'm actually taking the ball. I look at the hand that supposedly has the ball. It looks like this. But the audience sees this. I blow on my hand, making the ball vanish, and reach inside my pocket, and I take out the second ball with the first ball palmed. I bring Marilyn in again, and I say, Marilyn, would you blow on that? I say, don't spit on it. That usually gets a laugh, and what that does, it allows me to put my hand up like this and secretly load the two balls together. When I have her blow on it a second time, I say, perfect. Take one ball away and move my fingers back from the other ball, revealing it to the audience. Now we have two balls, and it's a nice display like this. Have Marilyn put out one hand. You can do the clean one, that business if you want. Leave it where everyone can see it. Do the vanish again that you just learned. Blow on it, it jumps to my pocket. Have her point to one of the balls in my hand. She points to one. I have her put her hand out. Grab it tightly. The reason I say that is the third time I push the two balls together. That looks like this. Push the two balls together this way and put them in her hand very hard, making her, you want her to squeeze tightly. I make her squeeze tightly. Tell her squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That way she won't open her hand too early. That's also why I have her palm facing down. If she turns her hand, if her hand is like this, she can open them. If she goes like that, she'll drop them, and she won't do that probably because she's a nice person. I take this one, I do the vanish again, the same vanish, throw it right through her ear, goes across her head, down her neck, and right into her hand. She turns her hand over when you ask her to, opens her hand, and there are the two balls. I take and I do it again. This is a fake. It looks like I'm turning my hand over and putting the two balls in the other hand. Really, I'm just putting one in that hand. But when it's covered, it looks like two, because they didn't know there was one hidden there. I pick them both up, squishing them together. I now have three. She thinks there were two going in her hand, but there were three. I reach into my pocket, take out a third one. I tell them it's really the fourth ball. Do the vanish again. Place it right here in the air invisibly, and mime walking down steps into her palm. She turns her hand over, slowly opens her hand, finds the balls. Sometimes they jump right out if she opens her hand quickly enough. And that's the basic secret of the trick. To make the ball vanish, I do this. This is what it looks like behind the scenes. I bend my fingers in, my first and second fingers bring the ball to my thumb. My thumb closes, pinching the ball in a thumb pinch. Meanwhile, my left hand closes around the ball. This all happens at once. Let me do it again in slow motion, all at once. I take the ball, I bring it up to my left hand. As my two fingers approach my left hand, the left hand closes, but the right fingers bend in, and my thumb steals the ball. By pulling my right fingers out of my hand, out of my left hand, it creates the illusion that they were there all the time. This is what it looks like from the front very slowly, and you'll probably see part of it. You've just made the ball disappear, and you secretly have a ball in your right thumb palm. You now reach into your pocket and take out another ball, keeping the first ball in your thumb palm. I say, Marilyn, or whoever's assisting me, would you blow on that, please? No, not that hard, just a little bit. When I bring my hand over here, it allows me to leave the balls together. I then push them together like that when I bring them up. Let's do that again. I push the balls together like that when I bring them up. Looks like one ball, it's really two. I have her blow on it. When she blows on it, I take away one ball. I leave the other one behind my hand right here. And then I reveal the second ball. Have Marilyn put out one hand. You can do the clean one, that business if you want. Leave it where everyone can see it. Do the vanish again that you just learned. Blow on it, it jumps to my pocket. Have her point to one of the balls in my hand. She points to one. I have her put her hand out. Grab it tightly. The third time I take, when I bring my hand up, I put the two balls together. That looks like this. There the two balls are together. From the front, though, it really looks like one ball. Push the two balls together this way and put them in her hand very hard, making her, you want her to squeeze tightly. I make her squeeze tightly. Tell her squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That way she won't open her hand too early. That's also why I have her palm facing down. If she turns her hand, if her hand is like this, she can open them. If she goes like that, she'll drop them, and she won't do that probably because she's a nice person. I take this one, I do the vanish again, the same vanish, throw it right through her ear, goes across her head, down her neck, and right into her hand. She turns her hand over when you ask her to, opens her hand, and there are the two balls. I take and I do it again. This is a fake. It looks like I'm turning my hand over and putting the two balls in the other hand. It looks like this. That's what I do. But the audience doesn't see that because they don't see the right hand until the two balls are in it. I pick them both up with the third ball, and that looks like this. Push the three together, like that. Hold them all. People will not know if it's two or three. I have Marilyn put her hand out. I put them in her hand, close her hand carefully, turn it over. I reach into my pocket, take out a third one. I tell them it's really the fourth ball. Do the vanish again. Place it right here in the air invisibly and mime walking down steps into her palm. She turns her hand over, slowly opens her hand, finds the balls. Sometimes they jump right out if she opens her hand quickly enough. And that's the basic secret of the trick. When you first look at the sponge ball trick, it appears to be complicated. But if you learn it in the order that I presented it, I don't think you'll have a problem. The highlights of the trick are, one, you need to learn to do the thumb pinch or the thumb palm. Secondly, you need to know how to make the ball vanish. That was also pretty simply gone over. And also learn to use the pass that we showed. A fourth thing you want to keep in mind is that in this trick we used an assistant. A couple of things that are important when using an assistant are, one, make sure it's somebody who wants to help you, but isn't going to try to steal the show because that can be confusing. And secondly, usually a good rule of thumb is if the person has a smile that makes them look a little friendlier than when they're not smiling, as opposed to evil, let's say, that's a good way of selecting an assistant, if they look like a fun person. Those are really all the components you need. Go over this trick a few times, use the jokes in there. Once you're comfortable with it, then you can go out and do the trick on your own, in your own way, and have fun. But initially, practice it, practice the sleights, then rehearse it. Rehearsal involves using the patter, using the words, using the talk. I want you to watch these coins. I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can actually hear them when I put them in my hands. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. The coins are about to go from that hand all the way over to here. And they're going to go this fast. 1, 2, 3, just like that. You really got to watch closely. Again, I've got 1, 2, 3 coins there, and 1 coin here. The second coin actually travels at the speed of sound. Now, I've been hiding the coins in my hands like this. You can't see them. This time, I'm going to leave them exposed, 2 of them right on top of my hands. Now, they're hard to balance. Well, they're a little hard to balance. Let me try again. Watch. Tiki, tiki, go. Tiki, tiki, come. Now, I've been able to get 1, 2, 3 coins to go to that hand. But to make it even harder, instead of getting this coin to go there, I'm going to have those coins come here on the count of 1, 2, 3. Here's the sleight. This is a pass with a coin. 1, 2, 3, and it creates the illusion you put the coin in that hand. Let's go over that slowly. I put the coin right into the center of my palm, where in fact I would hold it if I were palming the coin. I turn my hand over in a tossing motion into my left. I toss it as closely as I can into my left palm, and then a second time, toss it back into my right. The third time's the charm. I make believe I toss it, close my hand over what should be the coin, but in fact, I retain the coin in that hand. It looks like this. But from this angle, and being used to seeing the coin go from hand to hand, the illusion is very strong that I'm holding the coin in my left hand. The second slide is called the click pass. When I have a coin palmed in my hand right here, the audience doesn't know it. I pick up my next coin, I hold it between my index and my pinky finger, and I drop it into the other hand. Not the coin between my index and pinky finger, but the one I have palmed. As it hits the other coin, it creates a noise that sounds like it's hitting the coin in my hand, which really isn't there, but the people think it does. It goes like this. Let's do that again. I let the coin fall out of my palm, hit the other coin, and I close my hand over it. Of course, it's not done facing the audience. It looks like I just threw it in my hand, and that sounds like they heard it hit it just the right time. That's the click pass. To do this sleight, you put 2 coins in your hands like this and make a fist over them, 1 coin in each hand. Pick up the other 2 coins, leave them on top of your middle finger knuckles, right in the center. Hold them with your thumbs. When I turn my hands over, I do an exchange. The coin in my right hand falls inside my fist of the right hand. Both coins in my left hand, the one on top and the one underneath, come out as I turn my hands over. It makes sense when it's done fast because it creates the illusion that the coins have just fallen off the tops of my hand. You just turn your hands over and say, oops, and people think the coins have fallen out of your hand. The dirty work is done. Just wiggle your fingers, and the magic happens. The vanish of the 3 coins is as follows. I turn my hand over, let the coins drop into my hand, but they drop into the same hand. They don't change hands, just like this. I don't palm them at this time. I just let them drop. I close my right hand as if my right hand was accepting the coins from my left hand. As I reach down for the 4th coin, I squeeze these other coins into my palm. I take the 4th coin and then decide, instead of making this last coin go there, I'll make it 3 times as hard and get these 3 coins go here. The way you get that click is shake both hands at the same time. People can't tell where the sound is coming from. It's a different sort of illusion. Instead of a visual illusion, it's an auditory illusion. I'm going to get them to go here. Go 1, 2, 3. They disappear, and then they reappear right in the other hand. The tricks you've just seen are not too hard to learn. As a matter of fact, they're fun to learn. If you don't know where to start, pick the one you like the best and start there. If you're not sure, if you like them all equally, what I'd recommend is start with the coins, the cards, or the napkins. They're common objects that are around you all the time. You know magic needs practice and rehearsal, so remember to do that, and remember to have fun with it. Well, now you've seen it. Now go out and do it. Now you see it. Now you don't. You ready? Cadabra, look that way. There we go. Excuse me. Rabbit Cadabra, the world's smartest rabbit. You ready? Cadabra, look that way.